Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Friday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini. How is it going, everybody? Wrapping up the Pittsburgh Sports Week here on this Friday evening. Got a little bit more to talk about here tonight. Last night, we watched the Pittsburgh Penguins take on the Buffalo Sabres in their final game before the Olympic break. As a matter of fact, I have the opening ceremonies for the Olympics going on over here to my right. The Penguins doing battle with the Red Hot Sabres last night. It was a doozy of a game. And to begin the show here, we are going to recap all the insane craziness that went down in that hockey game. And I want to throw out the question: is this a Stanley Cup contending roster for the Penguins? Imagine that I'd be asking that question going back to what this roster looked like at the beginning of the season. On paper, nobody expected this team to do a damn thing, but here the Penguins are. You'll see right there, actually, over here, second place in the Metropolitan Division on the ticker right over here to my left, the right of your screen here. Imagine that the Penguins would be in that spot here in February heading into the Olympic break. After that, we will get into a little bit of Pittsburgh Steelers talk. No new news actually today on the Steelers hiring a coach. It seems like every single day pretty much for the past week and a half or so, there has been either rumors or confirmations of the Pittsburgh Steelers hiring a new coach to Mike McCarthy's staff. But today, don't think there has been one, but we still have something to talk about with the Steelers, that being the NFL Honors Show last night and the announcement of the 2026 Pro Football Hall of Fame. Yet again, another year goes by and a historic member of the Pittsburgh Steelers organization gets snubbed from Hall of Fame recognition. Who that is and why he isn't in, we'll try to talk that out and figure it out together. After that, we'll get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news of the day a little bit on the Pittsburgh Pirates. That will take up most of the extra Pittsburgh sports news. And then we will wrap it up and head into Super Bowl weekend. If those of you are watching right now, if you feel like leaving a comment, remind me. I'll try to drop my final predictions for the Super Bowl game near the end of the show, but we shall see. Before we officially get things going here on this Friday evening, if you are new here, welcome to the Steel City Sports Report. On your way in, please hit that like button, share this live stream, and in the comment section, any thoughts, questions, or opinions that you may have, get those in the comment section. I appreciate interacting with you through that comment area. Also, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Least you can do coming in here. I would appreciate it greatly. Lastly, go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and come back a little bit later on this evening for a new edition of SCSR 60. With that, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we are going to jump right into things here on this Friday evening. And for the first time in a little while, not starting off with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll get to them here in a few moments. Instead, we are going to start off with the local hockey team, the Pittsburgh Penguins. And after watching that game last night, how can you do anything but start with the Pens? Like I said, in Buffalo last night were the Penguins, their final game before the Olympic break. They will be off for the next 2.5 weeks, I believe. It's February 22nd. Don't quote me exactly on that. I want to say February 22nd. That will be the Pens' first game back from the Olympic break. But after, their past 4 games, the Pens won 2, and then they lost 2 in pretty devastating fashion to the Ottawa Senators and the who was it? Not the Edmonton Oilers. I forget who else they lost to recently. One of them was the Ottawa Senators. But Penguins going into last night on a 2-game skid. Also down one of their top defensemen, Chris Letang, was not sure how things were going to go for the black and gold last night. On top of that, the losing streak and the loss of Letang, adversity the Penguins went through last night. No Rickard Rakell left the morning skate yesterday with a lower body injury. He did not play. Noel Acciari, he was out sick. And Blake Lizotte did not make the trip to Buffalo. He was in Pittsburgh expecting the birth of his first child. So just like that, you had your lineup set heading into last night, and just like that, three key contributors to this team. Raquel, your top line winger, and Lizotte and Achari, 2/3 of your outstanding fourth line. Those guys all of a sudden out. That set up the emergency call-up and debut for one Avery Hayes. Hayes, young guy, works his ass off in the AHL, had a fantastic preseason, did Avery Hayes. He was one of many youngsters in the preseason where you had the question of, all right, who do we send down to the minors? Who do we keep up in the NHL? You know, showing that they earned a spot on this roster. Hayes just missed the cut and went down to Wilkes-Barre, was putting up good numbers there, made his NHL debut last night, did Hayes. He became the 12th rookie to suit up for the Penguins on the season. That ranks first in the NHL. The Penguins, in what was thought to be a rebuilding year, they are at least following one process of what rebuilding teams do. You suit up a ton of rookies. The last time the Penguins had that many or more rookies in a single season was in 1987 and 1988, when 19 different rookies played at least one game for them. I don't think the Penguins are going to reach that total, but they have been going through the youth movement in Pittsburgh. Onto the game itself last night for the Penguins. The Sabres, one of the better teams, if not the best team in hockey over the past few stretches of games. They got out to a 1-0 lead. Igor Chinakhov, who's been playing phenomenal as of late for the Penguins, he has a costly turnover. It is the ex-Penguin, Jason Zucker, who goes in, makes one move to the left, trying to get around the defenseman from far out, snips it in the top corner on Artur's Shilovs, a save that should have been made 10 times out of 10 by Shilovs. But, I mean, we should have expected it. I've said it on this channel before. I'll say it again. If you ever want to make any easy money out there betting on a Pittsburgh Penguins hockey game, scour the other team's roster and see if there is any former player that used to play a substantial amount of games with the Penguins, because it seems like 9 times out of 10 every game that a former Penguin is going to score against them. So Zucker, he put Buffalo up on the board 1-0, and then after that, a little bit of a take the first blow and then you're into the game if you're the Penguins. That's when the fun began. You had a face-off to the left of Artur's Shilovs. It was won cleanly by another youngster, Rutger McGroarty. Ilya Solovyov, one of the newest Penguins defensemen. He airmails it out to center. It bounces past the Buffalo defenseman, and a absolutely motoring Avery Hayes, using his wheels, gets past the defenseman, picks up the puck, puts it in to the net behind Alex Lyon, the goaltender. A first career shot and a first career goal for Avery Hayes to tie up the hockey game. Hayes, unbelievable speed, great strength to fend off the defender, and then to get an excellent shot off on goal as well. A thing of beauty there from the rookie. He became the 24th player in Penguins history to score in his NHL debut. The first rookie to score in his debut for the Pens since Kasper Bjornquist back in the 2021-22 season. But he wasn't done there. A little bit later on in the period, puck gets sent down low. Anthony Mantha, a between-the-legs pass to Hayes in front of the net. He puts it in the top right corner of the net. 2 goals on 2 shots to make it a 2-1 lead for the Penguins for Avery Hayes. Setting some history with that goal did Hayes. He became the 3rd player in Penguins history to score multiple goals in his NHL debut. He joined, of course, Jake Gensel, who did it back in 2016. We remember that debut for Gensel all too well. And also Rob Brown, who had 2 goals for the Penguins back in 1987. Hayes became the 7th player in NHL history overall, and just the 4th since 1917 to score multiple goals in the first period of his NHL debut. And the last stat here for Avery Hayes for the time being, he became the 12th undrafted player to score multiple goals in his NHL debut in league history. 12th player ever to do that. And that was since the NHL draft began back in 1963. So Avery Hayes etching himself into the history books last night. It was all over social media, and deservedly so. Like I said, this kid, you can just tell he is a junkyard dog. He busts his ass, and he got rewarded with 2 first-period goals in spectacular ways. Congratulations to him. That was the score heading into the first intermission, 2-1 Penguins. Second period, not too much action, except for another rookie for the Penguins making a big-time play, and this kid has been electric to watch all season. He continued his outstanding rookie campaign last night. Gets a steal in the defensive zone. Ben Kindle, 2-on-1 with Justin Brazeau, was looking all the way to pass to Brazeau until the very last second, where he tucks the puck in and beats Alex Lyon short side up high for the lead extending goal. That made it 3-1. Third period, Pens up 2 goals. I mean, third period leads for the Penguins this year. Some games they've been good, some games not so much. It looked off the jump like we were in for another unnecessary nail biter for the Penguins, where they blow their third period lead. Evgeny Malkin takes a bad penalty. That is when Tage Thompson, just 2 minutes into the third period, brought Buffalo back within 1. Also, Buffalo, they were pretty much hemming the Penguins in their own zone for most of that third period. They got a little bit too close to the goaltender, Peyton Krebs, who he's had a history with the Penguins before. He ran into Arturs Shilovs, ended up answering to Connor Clifton with the fisticuffs. But thankfully, the Penguins, despite the barrage of offense from the Sabres, they were able to hold on with 4.5 minutes left to go. A shot from the point was saved by Lyon, the goaltender for the Sabres. Tommy Novak tucked home the rebound to make it 4-2. Buffalo, they pulled their goalie with 2 minutes to go. Penguins also took a penalty. That made it 6-4, but Ben Kindle, after an excellent shift by Brian Rust, I want to give him his flowers here, had a huge block shot and a clear. Ben Kindle, though, the rookie, again, picks up the puck and is able to get the empty net. 5-2, the final score for the Penguins last night in Buffalo, New York. You see right there. They now, the Penguins, since Christmas, will count this as one long stretch here from Christmas, the Christmas break, to the Olympic break. The Penguins, the best team in hockey, pretty much. A 14-3-3 run since Christmas, with the 8th giving them the 8th best record in the NHL, and the team's 625 win points percentage, 4th in the Eastern Conference. An outstanding job by the Penguins over the last little over a month. They have been absolutely on fire, and in hockey, it's all about hitting your stride at the right time, and the Penguins here, heading into the Olympic break, not too long after that, you're going to hit the NHL trade deadline. You want to be playing your best hockey during that stretch. The Penguins did exactly that. 14-3-3 since Christmas, capped off with that win last night in Buffalo, 5-4. 5 goals for the Penguins, 4 by rookies. They are now Kindle and Hayes here. They are the 6th set of Penguins rookies to each score 2 goals in the same game. Congratulations to them. And also, big 2 points for the Penguins over the hottest team in the NHL. 2nd place in the Metropolitan Division. Can't be upset about that. The only other thing that I have on the Penguins here today, a lot of people making a big hullabaloo about it. 7 hours ago, the Penguins did send Avery Hayes and Rutger McGroarty back down to Wilkes-Barre Scranton. Immediately, the comment section blows up. Of course, the kid scores 2 goals and then you send them back down. Don't panic, everybody. That is just so that they can not be on the NHL roster and that they can continue getting game action under their belts in the AHL during the Olympic break. So they'll be down there continuing to work. Everyone else for the Penguins, much needed rest, I think, to say the least. It'll be a time where they can lick some wounds. They can recharge the batteries. That'll be huge for guys like Evgeny Malkin, Team Russia, not involved in this year's Olympics. So he'll get his 39-year-old body all rested up. Chris Letang, you're not going to I bet it'll still be a few games after the Olympic break before you get Chris Letang back, but at least you aren't playing any games. He's not missing any sort of significant action there. Some other guys, Ben Kindle, I don't mean to throw him in there, comparing, the 30, high 30-year-olds to a teenager, but Ben Kindle, I think this will be a nice little break for him. Been playing an outstanding rookie season, but you got to worry about workload. He's going to be playing a whole bunch of more games than he's ever played in his life. So a good time for the Penguins to hit the Olympic break, getting guys rested, getting them healthier, and they do so going out with a win, capping off an outstanding last month and a half. Again, welcome to all of you in here on this Friday evening. Going to be a bit of a quicker live stream here tonight. We've been going nearly 2 hours the past 2 nights. So tonight, if it's a quicker one, that'll be quite all right. Head into the weekend, Super Bowl weekend. I'm sure all of you watching this right now have some festivities planned for the big game. We'll meet back here on Monday, recapping the latest news in Pittsburgh sports, what all goes down over the weekend, but I'm sure we'll talk about the Super Bowl as well. Speaking of football, we're going to keep things moving along, right along here on this Friday. We'll get into the topic of football and the Pittsburgh Steelers a little bit right now. Last night, the NFL Honors Award show went down in Santa Clara, California. Of course, the NFL every year does their awards before the Super Bowl. There were some interesting things last night. It wasn't the cleanest award show. There were some presenters and all that were kind of out of their element there. Matthew Stafford won MVP slightly over Drake May. That was a down-to-the-wire vote there. Jackson Smith and Jigba won Offensive Player of the Year. There were a couple of other award winners that were pretty obvious. But the main things that I wanted to talk about from the award show last night, former Steeler linebacker Mike Vrabel, he won AP NFL Coach of the Year. Remember, if when there was a time that Vrabel was available and we were like, hey, if there was ever a time to move on from Tomlin, here's a guy that has Pittsburgh ties and seems to be a little bit more innovative and forward-thinking than Tomlin. Maybe we can go get Vrabel. Good times, thinking back to when the Steelers could have done something like that. Myles Garrett, he won Defensive Player of the Year, of course. That was something we've known for a while. I will say congratulations, Myles Garrett. You finally tied TJ Watt at one legitimate Defensive Player of the Year. Remember, Garrett stole one away from Watt a few years ago. But I'm not here to talk about those award winners. Instead, I want to talk about the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It has been under tons of scrutiny, especially over the last week or so, not voting into the finalist category, the likes of Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft, that whole Patriot Spygate mess that I don't feel like getting into. We were watching last night the NFL honors, looking to see if one man in particular was going to get into the Hall of Fame. L.C. Greenwood, Steelers legend, probably the most underappreciated, unrecognized members of the steel curtain defense of the Steelers. He in the seniors category, again, a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and circumstances being what they were last night, felt like it was going to be maybe the best chance that Greenwood would ever have or has ever had to this point to get into the Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, this is where we get pissed off. Again, L.C. Greenwood snubbed by the Pro Football Hall of Fame committee. Instead, the class of 2026, some I'm not going to argue with, some others I will take a little bit of gripe with. Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, those guys, slam dunk Hall of Famers. I have no issues over that. Adam Vinatieri, kicker, one of the most clutch kickers in NFL history. He made it. I mean, okay, he added a kicker. I will say, hey, maybe add another guy, but I'm not going to complain about that too much. And then the fifth and final member of the 2026 Hall of Fame class, Roger Craig, former San Francisco 49ers player, I believe. He voted in as the senior category member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, overstepping L.C. Greenwood. Craig was only one of 5 candidates put forward by the seniors, coaches, and contributors committee to be selected. L.C. Greenwood, again, snubbed by the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I don't get it anymore. I think, now that this whole Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick thing where I guess they're serving a year of penance for all of their wrongdoings back during the Patriots dynasty, they're going to probably get in next year. That's going to snub Greenwood again. Just a golden opportunity for Greenwood to get put in there, and a perfect moment for the Pro Football Hall of Fame committee to right the wrongs of keeping out one of the more underappreciated yet still dynamic players of one of the greatest defenses in NFL history. And they let that moment pass on by. I don't know what more L.C. Greenwood needs to do, or should I say needed to do, to get into the Hall of Fame. 4-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time first-team All-Pro, 6 Pro Bowls, the 1970s All-Decade team, the Steelers all-time team, the Steelers Hall of Honor member, Pittsburgh Pro Football Hall of Fame, Super Bowl silver anniversary, team 1, 5-time All AFC. I mean, I don't know what Greenwood, what more, how much you could look at that resume and not put him in. It's hard for me to form a thought as to why he wouldn't be in there, but we sit here again waiting for this icon, still waiting on his call to Canton up in the sky, and doesn't feel like he's going to get it, which is just absolutely horrendous and a disgrace. So they need to figure it out. I even think I saw something right before we went live that the Pro Football Hall of Fame is going to consider making changes to the voting panel. I think that's, mainly for the whole Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft thing, but should apply still to L.C. Greenwood, how one of the key contributors from one of the NFL's greatest defenses is still waiting for his call to immortality. Stuff needs fixed in a big way with the Hall of Fame. And I don't mean this for I don't mean this with any disrespect to what's his name, Craig or Roger Craig here. No disrespect. I know the whole thing was, when they announced him last night, was the first player to have 1,000 yards receiving and rushing in a single season. Outstanding accomplishment, but also Super Bowl in Santa Clara. They add a fan favorite from that area to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Tell me that didn't go a tiny bit into the decision making, which should have been absolutely horrendous. If that's the case, then where's the Super Bowl next year? Is it back in Miami or something? I guess we're gonna have some guy who's like number 3 on everybody's list who played for the Dolphins that's going to get into the Hall over L.C. Greenwood next or something like that. So just, I don't know what else we got to do, what else you can say campaigning for Greenwood to get in. If he wasn't going to get in that time around, then who the hell knows when he's going to get in, which is just so unfortunate. Some other things from the NFL honors last night, also not making the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Jari Evans, teammate of Drew Brees, also brand new Steelers assistant offensive line coach. We were going to be looking for him to see if he would have gotten in as well. Bobby Wagner, linebacker for the Washington Commanders. He won Walter Payton Man of the Year. Alex Highsmith, Steelers outside linebacker, was Pittsburgh's nominee, so he will not be receiving that great honor, probably the greatest honor that you can get at the NFL award show. Highsmith will not join Cam Hayward in winning that award. The last thing that I want to make note of from the NFL Honor Show last night. Shout out to Jerry Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette for bringing it up. Apparently, I only watched bits and pieces of the NFL Honors Show, but from one thing I heard, they did do a memoriam on NFL players and greats who passed away over the last calendar year. Steelers guard played, I think, over 150 games for the Steelers. Craig Wolfley, also outstanding Steelers radio color commentator. Wolfley, not mentioned in their memoriam tribute. So that is something that Steelers fans and just fans in general have started to give the NFL a good bit of backlash on. No mention of Craig Wolfley in the memoriam tribute for NFL honors. Thought that maybe the NFL would have some sort of list readily and available for them of like, hey, here's the guys that passed away this year. Let's make sure we get everyone on that list and be sure to check it twice. But Wolfley, unfortunately, falling through the cracks. Hopefully, the NFL is able to make a repentance for that. I should say. I think that's the word I'm looking for. But yeah, sucks that happened. Sucks that L.C. Greenwood didn't make it again. But now we are looking ahead next year. That Hall of Fame class, I think, is going to get a ton more talk about it. I mean, yeah, this Hall of Fame class had some big-time names, Breeze, Fitzgerald, Kuechly, but we remember next year, the Hall of Fame first ballot guys, the guys who will be first-time eligibles for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Rob Gronkowski, probably the greatest tight end in NFL history, Adrian Peterson, one of the best running backs in NFL history, and also two key Steelers of our adult memories and two key Steelers of my childhood. Antonio Brown, he will be a first-time eligible for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Doubt AB gets him because of all the stuff going on off the field. But hey, I thought it was with NFL voting that it was strictly what the player did on the field, not any of the extra curricular stuff like that. So if we're going off of that, then AB should be a first ballot Hall of Famer, greatest wide receiver of his generation. Argue with me all you want about Julio Jones and stuff like that. But AB, he is up for the first time for the Hall of Fame. Also, number 7, love you 7, Ben Roethlisberger. He will be up for the Hall of Fame. Tons and tons of speculation and talk about, is Ben going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer? Will he not? I think Ben should be. Two-time Super Bowl champion. I do think that all he's done in the longevity of his career for Ben should make him a first ballot Hall of Famer, but does have a few things working against him. I think him not being the main catalyst per se or at least fully the main catalyst in the Steelers Super Bowls, that plays a factor. Ben was never an MVP candidate. Don't even think he got a vote for MVP in his career. That'll be another blight against him. And also some of these other guys that got rolled over in front that did not make the Hall of Fame this year, they're going to roll back into next year's Hall of Fame category. You're talking about guys like Eli Manning. You got Jason Witten, Darren Woodson. We just mentioned Jari Evans, Torrey Holt, Terrell Suggs, Reggie Wayne. Those guys who did not make the Hall of Fame class of 2026. They're going to be, I'm sure, getting tons more consideration heading into next year's draft class. That might make it a little bit tougher for guys like Ben, but we shall see. Hopefully 7 gets the flowers he deserves and will make it into the Pro Football Hall of Fame class, first ballot for 2027. I would hope the same for AB, but I think we can be honest with ourselves here that ain't going to happen. Despite what the criteria may say, strictly what the guy did on the field is how you vote, not stuff off the field. I do think that's a more of a guideline instead of a strict rule here. So we shall see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, a little over half hour into the live stream here tonight. That's all right. Did say that things were going to move a little bit quicker on this Friday. Gonna get into the weekend a little bit early compared to how long the live streams have been the past few nights. Before we get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news here for this evening, only a little bit of it, most of it about the Pittsburgh Pirates. Do want to go back to the comments section to regular recurring viewers stopping by here on this Friday before we head into Super Bowl weekend. Flacco, a little bit late. That's all right, Flacco. They do. Indeed. They do deserve, both of them, a Hall of Fame. Brown, Ben, Antonio. Again, AB, the best wide receiver that I've seen in my lifetime, and that is not me in my conscious lifetime. I know I was born a little bit when Randy Moss and guys like that were still playing, but in terms of my conscious life watching football, Antonio Brown, definitely the best wide receiver I've ever seen, and Big Ben, two-time Super Bowl champion, going to be in the Hall of Fame one day. Just a matter of if he'll get in on the first ballot. If he doesn't get in on the first ballot, I definitely do think Ben should not wait or should not go past the second ballot for the Hall of Fame. As for AB, I mean, it's a case of, yes, he should be in the Hall of Fame based on the talent he had when he was playing, but how much is the stuff that has gone on, from the end of his career to today, how much is that going to hold him back? I'm not going to speculate, but we might be waiting a little bit for a while, or at least until AB turns some things around him in his life before we see him get consideration for the Hall. Freight Train here. Team starting to feel like the 15-16 game again. Freight Train talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins. Indeed, they are, Freight Train. We'll agree with that. Everyone's been going over this trend. Let's make 2026 the new 2016. I've been seeing memes and posts like that a bunch here. But indeed, this team, it's not, going along with the trend. This team for the Penguins, it does feel like 2016 again. This team started with, I think, a 3% chance, according to some model, that a 3% chance they could make the playoffs. Now they're up heading into the Olympic break. They're up to 85% chance to make the playoffs. And, starting to feel like 15-16 again. I did not follow up with this lead to begin the show, but I do think we are seeing a baseline Stanley Cup contending roster here for the Penguins. You want to go back to that 16 team. You had a new coach with fresh ideas in Mike Sullivan come in and change the vibes and direction of this team. Dan Muse, similar. Came in, new ideas, brought in a whole new coaching staff. Now this team looks rejuvenated compared to the 3 years of hell they just went through the past 3 seasons. And then that 16 team, you had your blend of veterans. Like, I think by then we could consider what Crosby and Malkin and them in their early 30s. Those guys were veterans, Letang, and then they brought up the young guys, Connor Sherry, Brian Rust. Jake Gensel wasn't on the team at the time. Scott Wilson, Tommy Kuhnackel, Brian Dumoulin, I think, was in that group. You brought up those young guys to blend with the veterans, and the veterans, they provide excellent teachers and guidance for the young guys, and the young guys bring that youthful energy and exuberance that gives a little bit of a lift to the guys that have been here for a while. I think you're seeing that potent mixture come up and be alive and well once again for this team. Not going to say that they are for sure going to the Stanley Cup final, or at least a trip to the Eastern Conference quite yet, but is there a solid foundation for this team to make some noise in the postseason this year and years beyond? I do believe so. So I agree with that statement very, very much. Freight Train, another comment here. SES, our dad. I know you and I have talked about what moves, if any, the Pens make before the deadline. Has anything changed in your mind at all? Yeah, we have talked about it. The Pens and what they could do at the deadline. I want to keep this mojo going so bad, but as much as, it's good, you're getting contributions from everybody up and down the lineup, still that I want to add someone without subtracting there. I mean, Kyle Dubas, I think this is where maybe he deserves the most credit. We talk about the roster and, the lineup right now and how it's rolling along quite well as currently constructed. I don't think you're going to need to subtract a guy, take a guy out of the lineup, like trade away an Anthony Mantha or anything like that to upgrade. Kyle Dubas has stockpiled quite a haul of draft picks and prospects to where he could ship off a decently high draft pick in a prospect to go get a guy that could contribute to this lineup and not touch any of the guys on the NHL roster as right now. So I will give Dubas a lot of credit here. We'll see what he ultimately does. I think you're going to see more moves like what Dubas has done this year, bringing in the likes of Igor Chinikov and who else did he bring in? Ilya Solovyov, guys like that who are looking for a fresh change of scenery. I doubt you're going to see any big fish moves like a Jason Robertson. Flacco here, Heinz Ward still got to get him back to Steelers football and talk about the Hall of Fame. Indeed, Ward, James Harrison, those types of guys, they didn't advance to the finalist round. I think, I'm trying to remember how it went. I think Debo didn't get added to the semifinalist group. And I want to say it was Ward. He only made it to the semifinalist group. So Debo got stopped shorter than Hines, but Hines ultimately was not a finalist, which, I mean, talk about a guy who played the right way, but in the wrong era. The way Hines Ward played would be greatly appreciated in today's era of football, much more than what it was back in, the 2000s and 2010s. That's for sure. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, 6 of you still in here on this Friday night. I'm going to begin wrapping up the show right now with the extra Pittsburgh sports news from the past 24 hours, and then we will head into our Super Bowl weekend. Like I said, extra Pittsburgh sports news, mainly centered around the Pittsburgh Pirates here tonight. We officially have all the rosters confirmed for the World Baseball Classic that will be coming up here in, I believe, exactly 1 month time. And the Pirates, more representation than what we initially believed they would have. Of course, we're going to start off with the big guys and work our way down. Paul Skeens representing Team USA. We mentioned that on the channel before, back when that was first announced, going back like a month and a half to 2 months. Skeens, he joins a stacked Team USA roster featuring some other former Pittsburgh Pirates, David Bednar, Clay Holmes, those guys in the bullpen. Skeens, of course, will be the top of the rotation guy, but a stacked Team USA roster for the World Baseball Classic. They, the betting favorites to win the whole thing with a tournament-leading 15 MLB All-Stars on roster. Also, awesome quote from Skeens talking about in the latest video, I think, from Team USA of how the roster got constructed. Paul Skeens, his quote when he was asked about participating in the World Baseball Classic for Team USA, quote, "I don't need time. Announce it when you want to announce it. Write it in pen. I am in." That is exactly the type of enthusiasm and patriotism that you love to see from Paul Skeens. And remember, he's ours, Pittsburgh. He's ours. And I don't want to hear any bullshit today about, he's going to be a Yankee in 2 years' time, anything like that. We're going to celebrate Skeens while he's still here. When I think turning a leaf on that front, no more, oh yeah, but when's he going to get traded? We're going to celebrate it in real time here, and then we'll leave our suffering of Pirates fans until after that fact. Some more players for the Bucks that will be representing Pittsburgh in the World Baseball Classic. 3 Buccos going to be participating for probably the second best team in the tournament, at least on paper, the Dominican Republic. O'Neal Cruz will be a center fielder, outfielder for the Dominican Republic. Dennis Santana and Gregory Soto, 2 Buccos relievers. They will be in the bullpen for the Dominican Republic. I'm sure that Santana and Soto will get a good look for this roster for the Dominican Republic. That they probably won't be late inning guys. Just looking at some of their bullpen, they got some good guys: Camilo Doval, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Albert Abreu. So they do got a pretty solid bullpen right there. But O'Neal Cruz, he will maybe be in this lineup in some way, shape, or form. We'll have to wait and see. Definitely the best of the bench is O'Neal Cruz for the Dominican Republic, but that outfield filled to the brim right now for the DR. Juan Soto, Julio Rodriguez, Fernando Tatis. Going to be hard to see if Cruz gets out there into the field of play. The rest of the Buccos, besides those four representing Pittsburgh in the World Baseball Classic, we mentioned this one yesterday, Spencer Horwitz. He will play for Team Israel. I believe he represented that team back in 2023. Kyle Nicholas, he will be on Team Italy, pitching out of their bullpen, I assume. Team Italy, manager for Team Italy, former Pittsburgh Pirate catcher, my favorite Pittsburgh Pirate of all time, besides, of course, the greats, Andrew McCutchen, Paul Skeens. Probably my favorite Pittsburgh Pirate player that was not a star. He is the manager of Team Italy, Francisco Cervelli. Nick Gonzalez, as well as brand new Pirates pitcher Jose Urquidy signed a 1-year deal with the Bucs yesterday. They will represent Team Mexico at the World Baseball Classic, and I believe just some other guys here that are in the minor leagues for the Bucs currently that will be on the rosters for the World Baseball Classic. Alessandro Urcolani, he will be with Team Italy as well, as is Kyle Nicholas. Po Yu Chen, a minor league pitcher, will be with, I believe, Taiwan. Emmanuel Chapman, minor league pitcher, he will be with Cuba. And Antoine Kelly, he will pitch for Team Netherlands. A good chance you see one Antoine Kelly at some point this upcoming season for the Bucs. Nice bullpen arm in the minor league system for the Bucs currently. But that's it. I believe, count them up, total 9, I believe. Wait, let me count here one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 Buccos currently representing the Pirates in the World Baseball Classic. I believe it's 8 of which who are currently on the MLB roster. So good luck to all of them. Maybe even the Bucs could add a few more World Baseball Classic guys to their roster before spring training begins. Jose Quintana, he will be the team captain for Team Colombia. He's been rumored to have a reunion with the Pirates for a little bit now. The Pirates, they were busy today, other than announcing those going to the World Baseball Classic. They made some hires throughout the organization. Pedro Martinez Jr., the son of, yes, that Pedro Martinez, one of the best pitchers of all time. He, according to John Drecker, hired to be a scout in the Dominican Republic. Also, according to Drecker, he was on all of these hires here. The Pirates hiring Bob Nadel as their new special assistant and coach in coaching and player development. Has been a catching coordinator for the Mets since 2005. He now comes over to the Buccos. And also the last hire today I saw for the Bucs, Sung Hyun Hong has been hired as a coach in the Dominican Republic, a legend in Korean baseball, according to Drecker, a 301 hitter over 18 seasons, has over 2,000 hits and 1,000 RBIs. Insane production from Sung Hyun Hong, and now he's a coach in the Pirates organization. Last few things here on the Bucs this evening. John Heyman, MLB insider, he chimed in on the Framber Valdez signing from 2 nights ago. Valdez was, for all 8 hours of Wednesday, rumored to be aggressively pursued by the Pittsburgh Pirates, ended up signing a 3-year, $115 million deal with the Detroit Tigers. John Heyman chimed in on this with a little bit of a new take on it. He said even for a pitcher with alleged flaws, Framber Valdez sure was popular. The San Diego Padres, they showed late interest. The Toronto Blue Jays were in on him, as were the Minnesota Twins. The Orioles were in too, but the Detroit Tigers, they ended up getting Valdez in the end. No mention in that post whatsoever of the Pittsburgh Pirates from John Heyman. It was, of course, the top of the market guys, the Blue Jays, the Padres, the Tigers, who ultimately got him, but also some lower payroll teams like the Twins and Orioles. But no mention of the Buccos from John Heyman. Makes you confirm even more the thoughts that are bouncing around in our heads that indeed the Pirates are just being used as pawns in this whole free agency cycle. If an agent feels like their client isn't getting the money or offer or urgency from a team that they want, they call up one of these insiders, say, hey, say the Pirates are interested, and then boom, days, if not in this case hours later, that guy is off the market for pretty much what they want. So until the Pirates actually sign a guy worth note, again, do not believe what the insiders, or take with a grain of salt what the insiders put out there about the Pirates' level of interest, because turns out most of that is just BS at this point. The Bucks did sign a pitcher again today, third straight day they signed a pitcher. Not sure if this guy is a minor league or a prospect signing. I believe he is Dominic Pipkin. He signed with the Bucks today, according to Driveline Baseball. 4-pitch mix for Pipkin, 98.2 miles an hour is where his fastball is at right now. Big time power paired with excellent command. So the Bucks adding more youth to their pipeline. And the last thing on the Bucks today, still looking for a third baseman. I would assume they've been in on multiple third basemen this offseason. The top two, Kazuma Okamoto and Eugenio Suarez, but have not been able to get a deal done with any of those guys. Now they're going to need to go to the trade market, most likely, to fill the hole at third base. And ESPN came up with a mock trade today for a bunch of players. And the Pirates, they were mentioned in these mock trades. The Bucks, according to ESPN, could acquire Isaac Paredes and cash from the Houston Astros. But going back in the trade, Hunter Barco, left-handed prospect pitcher, probably your best young left-handed arm on the staff right now, and Jared Triolo, your Gold Glove Award winner, whose bat is lacking recently. As much as I would love to get a right-handed power bat in this lineup and also upgrade at third base with a bat, in terms of the bat over Jared Triolo, does not make sense. That trade, I will leave. I will say no to that. And I know it's a whole comment from Ben Charrington in the past. Sometimes you got to be comfortable saying no. That's a trade that I would say no to. I am not, without a left-hander in my rotation right now, going to give up my most MLB ready left-hander prospect. And also, yeah, that lacks at times, most times actually, but third glove, Gold Glove is still a Gold Glove, and I'm not giving up Jared Triolo just to get maybe 10 to 15 more homer production in Isaac Paredes. I'd rather just hold on the tree and take the glove over the bat in that case. I'm not going to be giving up that deal to the Houston Astros. Also, ESPN, I think you should learn a little bit better about the Pirates and how they did in their most recent trade with the Houston Astros. Remember, the Bucks only gave up Mike Burrows to the Astros in that 3-team trade that brought them Mason Montgomery, Brandon Lau, and Jake Mangum. So not going to be doing that trade, ESPN. Thank you, but no thank you. Moving back into football here, a few extra stories there today relating to the Pittsburgh Steelers in some way, shape, or form. It's official. The Cleveland Browns, they officially pissed off to no end and exiled or forced him into exile Jim Schwartz, their outstanding defensive coordinator. He today, officially, it was announced his resignation as Browns defensive coordinator. And the Browns, they continue to be the Browns. To quote a wise man, the Browns is the Browns. And throughout this entire coaching cycle, the Browns were looking to hire a new head coach, but also looking to keep Jim Schwartz on the staff. Now they ended up going through multiple interviews with Schwartz through the head coach process, did not hire him. And their one caveat in hiring a new head coach was that the new head coach was going to need to retain Schwartz as the DC. Well, Schwartz, I guess, took offense to that. If you're going to want me to stay on staff, why not just make me the head coach? The Browns did not listen. They hired Todd Monken, and now Schwartz, as predicted, he's going to be on his way out the door as Browns DC. So maybe that outstanding run that the Cleveland defense has been on for the last few years, maybe it comes to an end with the mastermind behind the unit now leaving town. Also, want to give a quick moment here to laugh even more at the Browns. Apparently, Schwartz, according to Tom Pelissero, submitted his resignation letter yesterday. So on the same day that Myles Garrett won Defensive Player of the Year and that Carson Schlesinger as well, their nice rookie linebacker, won Defensive Rookie of the Year, the same day that those two products of Jim Schwartz's defense won a hardware, he handed in his walking papers. Outstanding incompetence from the Browns. Got to give it to them. They keep proving themselves year after year that they are maybe in competition for the Jets, but I'm still, just in terms of longevity, going to give the Browns this mantle. They still showing that they are the most incompetently ran franchise in the NFL. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Moving on from one AFC North division rival to another here for a minute. The Baltimore Ravens, they've been making multiple hires again to their coaching staff. Not going to keep track of all of them, but we'll make note of the big ones. The Ravens today, they hired Harlan Bauer from Duke as their new outside linebackers coach. Not going to act like I know much about Mr. Harlan Bauer. This one, though, another hire from the college ranks I did want to make note of. The Ravens yesterday hiring University of Michigan defensive line coach Lou Esposito as their new D-line coach. This one is a little bit of an interesting hire for me for the Ravens, and I don't mean that in the good way for us Steelers fans. You got Lou Esposito coming from Michigan. Say what you want about first-time NFL head coaches. I'm not sure if he's a first-time NFL head coach, but coaches in general coming from the college world. This one would worry me because now you got this guy going to the Ravens who has coached up phenomenal defensive linemen over his years at Michigan. You're talking about products like Aiden Hutchinson, Mason Graham, who's with the Browns, Kenneth Grant, who was a highly touted defensive tackle in last year's draft. And then I think there was a few more as well. I think there's going to be a couple guys from Michigan coming out in this staff. Not sure if it's not Shamar Stewart. He's of the Bengals, I believe. But Derek Moore, he's one of those guys coming out in this year's draft. So a coach that got a ton of production and development out of outstanding young D lineman for Michigan now takes his talents to Baltimore. That'll be something to keep an eye on. Also, another hire was made in the league today. Former Steelers tight end coach Alfredo Roberts. He will be heading to the New York Jets following Carl Dunbar going from Pittsburgh to New Jersey. So we'll see what Alfredo Roberts can get out of Mason Taylor and whoever else the Jets have in their tight end room there. Last thing on the Steelers today, it's getting old talking about this whole DK Metcalf idiotic fan situation. We mentioned a few days ago that the fan is suing Metcalf and a few others for over $100 million for defamation and stuff like that. Now the whole saga takes another turn. The Detroit police, they are now investigating the December incident with the fan and Metcalf. No idea what's going to come of this. There's, I don't think, any sort of warrant out for anyone yet. Not sure if it's going to reach that point, but the day this all comes to an end and we can move past it, the better. It's really getting annoying, and it'll be especially annoying that this fan, who clear as day on video after goading Metcalf into doing that stuff, turned around and said that was the goal, to get that reaction. It's a shame in the end. This dude's probably going to get something out of it here when he brought it upon himself. But I, talk no further on that unless it's strictly news about it. Speaking of, lawsuits and police investigations and stuff like that, wrapping up with some hockey here. This one, no sort of ties to the Pittsburgh Penguins, but it is Western Pennsylvania major hockey news. Apparently, the felony charges of aggravated assault against Penn State's Gavin McKenna, who will be the first overall pick in the NHL draft here in a few months. The charges of his aggravated assault have been dropped. I think he's still got some civil stuff to go through, but the big stuff against McKenna, charges are dropped after the outdoor game that Penn State had last week. He punched a rowdy 21-year-old who I assume by all accounts was making rude comments towards his mother. McKenna ended up breaking his jaw. Doesn't seem like any large-scale legal stuff is going to be going against McKenna there. And the last thing of the night here on the Pittsburgh Penguins, thoughts and prayers to former Penguins general manager Craig Patrick. It was first brought to light last night on the Penguins broadcast that Craig Patrick has been in the hospital for more than a month after suffering a serious stroke. Apparently, now he is out of the hospital, I believe, if I remember correctly what was said last night, and was in the press box with Kyle Dubas. But thankfully, one of the legends and key architects of the Pittsburgh Penguins, the guy who drafted Sidney Crosby and gave this organization by his moves another, lightning in the bottle era with Crosby, going from Lemieux to Crosby. Thankfully, still with us, and that the stroke was nothing that could have done more damage. So happy he's still around, but still thoughts and prayers to him as he will continue his road towards what will hopefully be a full recovery. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that is going to wrap things up here tonight on the channel. One more time, going to go back here to the comment section, see what all you guys got going on here in the comment section. Appreciate your comments here tonight. Concepts joining in the fray here. Welcome, Concepts. Glad to have you back, all of you guys, introducing yourselves or saying hi to yourselves in the comment section. Appreciate that. Freight Train here. Again, going back to the Penguins, also the fourth line scoring like crazy. Yeah, and that's what gave me a little bit of an uneasy feeling heading into last night's Buffalo game. The fourth line, arguably your best line over this hot streak the Pens have been on. All of a sudden, two of your three guys on that line go down. Yeah, I'm not sure how that lineup was going to turn out last night for the Pens, but that turned out to be quite all right. And the kids, they're quite all right for the Penguins, making a splash last night. Concepts here. Apparently, Schwartz called Miles a racist on his way out. Overrated clown. Sorry, all positivity here. Yeah, not going to get into any of that. We all know Schwartz did not say that. But, I mean, hey, if I were in Jim Schwartz's position, just trying to put myself in his shoes, Jim Schwartz, have orchestrated one of the more production-filled and high ceiling defense or high floor defenses in the NFL over the past 3 years, with one of the best defensive players in Myles Garrett And now when my time finally comes around, and also as Jim Schwartz, have constructed this defense, the offense has been absolutely brutally terrible. Now Jim Schwartz, with this best defense coming off one of its best years, have a chance to oversee everything and maybe oversee the offense now. So I know that my defense getting screwed will be my own doing. Instead, you go and you bring in a mediocre offensive coordinator, Todd Monken from the Ravens. Yeah, I'd be throwing up the deuces, piecing out Antonio Brown style too. Don't think Jim Schwartz took off his shirt and, ran out of the facility like that. But I understand where Schwartz is coming from. It's just hilarious how the Browns continue to step on that rake, smack themselves in the face every once in a while. They might do a few good things here and there, but it's always wait and see when they'll mess it up, because it is a matter with them when they'll mess it up, not if. So it's funny. The Browns, you hired a new head coach, but at what cost? Cost you, arguably, could you say Jim Schwartz was their Dick LeBeau? I mean, doesn't seem like a smart decision there for the Browns. See here some other things here in the comments section from you. Can any teams beat Canada in hockey in the Olympics? I don't see how. Good question there, Freight Train. Will admit Team Canada does look like a juggernaut. Again, similar to maybe even a better roster than what they had in the Four Nations face-off last year. Do not know if anybody's going to beat Team Canada. I wish that Russia was in these Olympics, because I keep seeing mock-ups of what Russia's Olympic team would look like. And with that goaltending that the Russians would have Shesterkin, Vasilevsky, Sorokin, all fighting for the net, I would have probably said Russia has a good chance to overtake Canada. Sweden, not going to count them out. They are a pretty full team. And Team USA, I want to be optimistic and, say, yeah, let's go Team USA, kick ass. But some of those guys that Bill Guerin put on the roster, like Brock Nelson and Vinny Trocheck, leaving off guys like Jason Robertson, that does give me a little bit of, do we really have that much of a chance? Anything can happen in hockey. Hockey is one of those sports where any given night, anybody can beat anybody. But Canada does look like a juggernaut again. The only bright side to Canada winning and continuing to be a absolute unit in hockey is that we still have Sid the Kid to, I guess, say, hey, at least our guy keeps adding hardware to his already first ballot Hall of Fame resume. Some other comments here from you guys. Another comment from Freight Train. When do pitchers and catchers report? Pitchers and catchers, they report for the Buccos on February 11th. But I believe Paul Skeens and all the other World Baseball Classic guys, they report a day or two earlier than that. So I think like February 9th, you'll see maybe videos and pictures of Skeens down there at Pirate City. But February 11th, that is when we will be seeing pitchers and catchers, I believe, report for the full team. Some other comments here from you guys. NFL should be sued for colluding against DK and the Steelers. Suspension was 100% pure collusion. Yeah, I mean, that's in the past now, but still 2-game suspension with the division hanging in the balance. I thought that was a little bit much for Metcalf. Would have liked to have seen that just be a 1-game suspension, but it is what it is at this point here. Seeing some more comments here. Appreciate this comment, Concepts. Appreciate the content so much. Snow to clear. Yeah, show is helping provide entertainment throughout. Glad I'm doing that for you, Concepts. I think the brunt of this new winter storm in my neck of the woods, it's probably going to be hitting here soon if it's not already here, and will carry through the night. So, yeah, going to have more fun clearing snow. Was hoping that massive storm we had a few weeks ago would have been it, but nope, Mother Nature says, oh, you thought we were done? I don't think so. So, yeah, that'll be fun to do more. Concepts here screwing over their best coach for an unproven guy. Classic Browns move. Classic Classic Browns. Browns is the Browns. Browns is the Browns. Back into baseball here. Freight train. Triolo trade makes no sense. Might have been a bad bat, but losing that, isn't worth it. Yeah, not losing the Gold Glove. It's going to take a lot for me to move off the Gold Glove here. I mean, that will be valuable late game situations. You put Triolo out there at any of the 4 infield spots. Hell, we've even been shown he can play some outfield too. Triolo can do it all. It's going to, even though he lacks with the bat, he makes up for it a bunch with the glove. Still seeing some other comments here. You guys greeting your stuff on the way in. Flacco saying the same thing. Yeah, Sweden. That the defense of Team Sweden, if they stay healthy, that defense of Team Sweden could be vital for them. They got an underrated forward group, and goaltending takes only a little bit for a guy like Phil Gustafson, Linus Olmark. Just takes one of those guys to get hot. Goaltending at the end of the day wins championships in the NHL, and that might prove the same for the Olympics. All right, ladies and gentlemen, think that is just about going to wrap it up. Last few comments here. $100 million lawsuit, settle for $1 million and go away. Yeah, he's not getting the $100 million. There's absolutely no way. Concepts here. How important is getting a left guard to you if Sayamalu isn't resigned? Sayamalu seems past due, to be honest. And trusting Spencer Anderson seems risky. Early draft pick or a good free agent veteran, or trust Spencer. I would say day 2 draft pick. Is that an option? Day 2 draft pick. Let him be in a competition for Spencer Anderson, because I think Spencer Anderson, as your jumbo tight end, and the few times he had to step in for injuries last year all around the offensive line, I think Spencer Anderson did an adequate job. I'd say a day 2 pick when Spencer Anderson, let them fight it out for the left guard spot if Sayamalu doesn't return. Free agent, going for a free agent veteran. I mean, we saw what offensive line were getting paid last year in free agency. I mean, Robert Hunt, a guy who was like a middle of the road guard, got paid $50 million or something like that. Dan Moore Jr. got a massive payday to be a left tackle. So going to free agency and getting offensive linemen there, that is very few and far between. You get good deals there. But Spencer Anderson, I would give him a shot competing with a rookie. Also, not sure with this new offense if they're going to be using any jumbo tight end sets. We got to keep that in mind with Mike McCarthy now running the show there. So Spencer Anderson in a day 2 pick, that's probably initially where I would go there. Last few comments here. Thought our backups played well at left guard with the exception of the Houston game. Yeah, nobody played well in the Houston game. So we might as well just file that whole one away and throw it in the fire right now and let it burn. I'd like to see what the new coaches can get out of them. Agreed. We did see some development and flashes of potential from Frazier, Faatanu, McCormick, even Jones with Pat Meyer in his last year. Now can this new group, James Camp and Jari Evans, Ramon Chinyoung, I think a little bit, can they elevate them? I'm hoping that's the case indeed there. Freight train. Agreed. Like Spence, also want competition in depth. So many young guys at all line. Having a good vet could help. I do think they could add a veteran, to be a steadying voice in the room and sort of a leader. But also, you still got, assuming Broderick Jones returns, you'll have at least another year 3 of 4 out of your 5 guys gelling on that line. I think that would be pretty critical. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, think that will do it here tonight. One last check here on the Twitter timeline, seeing if we have any last minute news before we call it quits and head into the weekend here. Looking here, seeing again, shout out, sort of mentioned this guy passing by. Shout out to Larry Fitzgerald, Pitt alumni, for making the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Good stuff from that. Okay, going to move on from that. I am seeing an absolutely crazy post right now that I am not going to read out what it says. It involves an Olive Garden in Pennsylvania. So I'll leave you guys to your own devices to seek out what that story is. Jeez Louise. Yeah, not seeing anything else here. So that is going to wrap things up here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for tuning back in again here. Sort of a getting back in the saddle week here after that little bit of a break the channel took. I appreciate you guys bearing with me, easing back into the normal schedule here. Thank you all for your comments once again. Last two comments here for the night. All these changes going on in the Steelers organization. Going to stay optimistic and trust the process. We asked for change. We're going to stay optimistic about the change. We asked for the change after seeing the same bad movie over and over again, and now we're getting that change. Whether it's good or bad, you got to be optimistic that this change is eventually going to get the Steelers back into where they're supposed to be. There, those high standards of competing for the Super Bowl. So excited for this change. Going to stay optimistic and trust the process. Indeed, never experienced so much change as a Steelers fan. It's exciting. It's exciting, but we're treading into unknown waters here. Let's enjoy the process and try to keep rational heads about the whole entire thing. Agreed with that, with you guys. So that'll do it. Thank you all for stopping by tonight and throughout this Get Back Together week. On your way out, if you're new here, hit subscribe, turn on notifications so that you never miss a thing. Like, share, leave a comment in the comment section. Anything that's on your mind after the show is over, leave it in the comment section. I'll get back to you at a later time. Go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and tune back in a little bit later on tonight for SCSR 60. One last thing. Final predictions for the Super Bowl on Sunday. As much as I think that the Seattle Seahawks are firing on all cylinders right now, I think I said this earlier in the week, I do think there's a tiny bit of that voodoo magic left for the Patriots, and I think we could see Drake May have a day and become a Super Bowl MVP, and meanwhile, Sam Darnold, for such a good year he's had, I think maybe we see a little bit of the old Sam Darnold there. So we shall see. Last comment here from Freight Train. Decent bat at third base, possible playoff team for the Pirates. Pitching is going to be the best in baseball. Yeah, I do think the Pirates have a good chance of being the near the best in baseball. Need one more bat. But we'll see if that bat comes. Definitely going to need some good bounce back seasons from guys like O'Neal Cruz and Brian Reynolds. Cannot count them out. Also, Connor Griffin, get your ass to the big leagues, kid. Thank you all. Going to go with the Patriots winning the Super Bowl, unfortunately, breaking the tie with the Steelers for most Super Bowl wins by a franchise. That's unfortunate, but here's to hoping that I am wrong with my prediction. Won't be the first time, won't be the last time. Let's hope that I am wrong. Like my dad says, everyone stay safe, stay warm. See you back here on Monday with more Pittsburgh sports news. Have a good rest of your Friday night and a good weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl, everyone. Back here on Monday. Peace.